send this one that I just.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show.
We just got breaking news in.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show. We have a fun one coming today because we actually have good baseball to talk about. We don't have to talk about the dumpster fire that was the last 2 months. Even though the Giants are probably pretty much out of it, we still get to talk about good baseball. So because of that, it's a good day.
Hey, we didn't have to recycle a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Look at us.
I didn't have to use a thumbnail that was just some like meme making fun of the team. I got to actually have fun with one today. That was a big positive in my book. So yeah, Giants, they walk off today on a Jung-Hoo Lee single. Willy Adames hit 2 homers. He is now at 24 for the season. We'll dive in on Willy's season that he's having so far, especially his second half. And coming off, they're now at 5 in a row. They took the last 2 in Milwaukee, 3 against the Cubs. I mean, those are 2 teams that are 20 plus games over 500. That's impressive to say the least. And what do you guys want to talk about with this?
We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, clearly that they're gonna play 700 baseball the rest of the way and sneak into that third wild card spot. Super realistic. And more importantly, so we hit Cody's record prediction from before the season started.
Yeah. That's what we're going for. Oh, man. Yeah, I think they're right now. Did the Mets end up winning today? Does anyone know?
Ooh, I believe they're losing late in that game, but I haven't checked since.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Yes, they did lose 7-4.
6 games back.
There's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
We just need the Mets to go on another Giants level skid, even though they already got that out of their system, I think. But, one can only hope.
Another one won't hurt.
I'm sitting there looking at the schedule going forward, and I'm like, okay, they got like Baltimore, and they get Arizona, and they get Colorado, and then they get Arizona again, and I'm like, don't do this to me. This team's like gonna rip off like a 10-2 stretch, and all of a sudden be right there.
It's that Jeremy Renner gif from I think it's Endgame, or it's like "Don't Give Me Hope." It's that one.
Dang it, Dan! I was gonna pull the gif up.
we were thinking the same thing.
Yes.
Look at us. Great minds think alike, my friend.
Oh man.
The worst part is that they have all those relatively easier games, and even with all of that and 7 games against the Dodgers, they really don't even have to do crap against the Dodgers, and they could just dominate the other teams that they play, none of which are really in playoff contention. And they would actually be able to play pretty close to 700 baseball. Mike, of course, I kind of joked about it in one of our group chats earlier this week that knowing the Giants, they're going to get within like 3 games with like a week left to play. And we're just going to be like, are we really doing this?
Yeah. Do we really have to feign hope here? I really don't want to.
It's going to come down to winning like 6 straight against St. Louis and Colorado to end the year. And then we'll lose like the last game of the year against the Rockies at home. It's kind of like, what was it? I think it was the 2020 season. We needed to win that last game against the Padres. And then somebody gave up like a walk or a game winning homer or whatever against the Padres at home. Blew like a 4-run lead. It might've been like Trevor Gott or something back then. And it was just like, dude, what are we doing?
It'd be even more fitting. An end result like that happens, and Rafael Devers is at like 99 RBIs and Willy Adames is at 29 home runs, and then the season just ends on that note. That'd be fitting.
Yeah. I like a few people have said here, just get to 500 first. Let's start there. And then see what happens.
It was Trevor Gott. George just put it in the chat. That's hilarious.
How did you remember that?
I just know from like that little window of time in my memory, Trevor Gott was like so hated, and I figured he was one of those late inning guys that more than likely blew it.
He was public enemy number one.
He's like, I had a 50-50 shot.
There is no guy that's been on this team for like a year and a half or 2 years that is hated quite like Trevor Gott. In just such a short little window of time and being just such an insignificant player.
It's I disagree. Even like, I can name someone.
Name one.
Casey Schmidt. Go on Giants X. Luis Matos.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody like collectively hated Gott though.
For sure.
Like he was not polarizing at all. Everybody just absolutely hated the guy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The schedule does work in their favor, but you got to take care of business one game at a time, as the cliche goes. Hopefully they can drag themselves back in it. I'm not holding my breath. I don't think these guys are holding their breath. There's 28 games. The math is the math. They're 2 games under 500, 6 games back. I mean, you're probably Ricky. You said what, like 20-8 going down the stretch just to get to 86 wins.
20-8 gets them to 86 wins, and that's I think like 7-15 baseball.
Yeah. So they're not mathematically out of it, but they're going to need to go on a run, and they're going to have to sweep some teams. You got Colorado, and dare I say they might need to go 6-0 in those games, 5-1 at worst. You got Arizona. You might be in a similar boat, and they're not really even a bad team. They just sold kind of like the Giants did, where they got rid of some guys, but they still, they'll still put up some runs. So it's going to be tough, even though the competition's a competition. St. Louis, I think, has kind of fallen out of it, but they're not. St. Louis absolutely killed the Giants last season, so I wouldn't count on anything there or guarantee anything there either. So, but at the end of the day, like you guys said, the Giants are probably gonna drag themselves back into it. They'll probably save Melvin's job, and then we're gonna enter the last week of the season sitting here like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, why is there a Leighton Vander Esch jersey in the back?
Yeah, that is so random. It's just Cowboy stuff. The timing's great when they just traded their best player.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. And I agree with Mark here. I mean, this is kind of what they envisioned when they acquired these guys. That those 2 guys could really carry this team. Now, obviously, they're going to need a little help. Lee coming through with the big hit today. Matos obviously had a good series or good 5-game stretch. They're gonna need some help, but those 2 can definitely carry the load for sure.
See, it's frustrating because this offense that we've seen over the last 5 games is what we've been begging to see for the last 5 months. It's so frustrating that it's happening at the very end of August. And I mean, Adames kind of summed it up when they interviewed him today. He was just like, look, you got a bunch of new guys coming to a new team. Takes a little bit of time for everyone to gel together, and we're starting to see what the results are like as everybody gets comfortable with one another. Unfortunately, it is probably going to be too little too late, but it's at least really good to see, and hopefully they can carry this momentum through the rest of the year, and then you're just that more excited for 2026, especially with how the offseason goes, especially with Bryce more than likely making the opening day roster. We're going to touch on him in a little bit after the mammoth that he hit tonight. But no, I mean, there's a lot of positives you can take out of this little stretch and just hope that it kind of continues on to next season.
Yeah. The only thing that's gonna suck is if they go on some run where they end up at like 83 wins and then they keep Bob. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that. It's like I either want them to win and make the playoffs, or I want this to just be like hey, we hung around 500 and then Bob gets the boot. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to see some fake run that they're not even really close, where they maybe make up a game or two, but they don't really, ever get themselves fully in it. And it somehow keeps his job. Like I just, at the end of the day, the team is underperformed for him. They underperformed for him last season. The Padres underperformed for him 2 years ago. At some point, get a new voice in there. But I mean, that said, this is absolutely the best ball that they have played. I think like the last 5 games have been the best stretch of baseball they've had all season, top to bottom, in my opinion. I think they've pitched the ball pretty decently. I feel like the defense has been really solid behind the pitching staff. And then offensively, for the most part, they're coming through with situational at bats. Ramos hit into the double play today. That was kind of a buzzkill, but yeah, he put it in play. I mean, earlier in the year, he just strikes out, and I get it. The strikeout would have been better than a double play there, but overall that they're playing, better just fundamental baseball right now. I mean, the defense has been solid. Willy Adames has been freaking everywhere back there. Casey's firing balls on double plays and jumping, catching a ball that he looked like he was about 7'4" to get to that ball. I mean, the double play he turned today.
So even Luis Matos looks good right now.
Yeah, I mean he's been not kicking everything. So hey, Bailey had to strike him out, throw him out. I'm always fair. I'll give him credit where it's due. Yeah, I mean they're just playing solid. This is fun baseball to watch, and that's really what it is. Like we want to be entertained by the product. Like we don't want to watch just bad baseball, no matter where they are in the standings. Like I just,
it's fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not counting on them to go and play over 700 baseball, but just going and running through the schedule and the way they're starting to heat up a little bit offensively, it's not the most far-fetched thing. You look at, the teams that they are going to be facing here on out pitching wise, and you're looking at the Cardinals 21st in team ERA. You've got the Diamondbacks who are 24th in team ERA, the Orioles who are 26th in team ERA, and the Rockies who are dead last, of course. So you're looking at all of those teams that they have, with the exception of the 7 games that they do have against the Dodgers, and you could really envision this team really feasting off these other teams' pitching staffs. And if the Giants can just muster up the level of hitting that they have been against much better pitching staffs in the Brewers and the Cubs, you could definitely see a scenario where they end up going on a nice little heater here. But ultimately, the absolute last thing that they can afford to do is go into those 7 games that they have against the Dodgers and just absolutely lay an egg, because that will destroy all hope of being able to do anything. And to be quite honest, they might need to extend this current little 5-game win streak they have going into like a 10 or 12-game win streak. And if they really want to be serious, because we've seen them this year, every time where you feel like they're about to go on a run, they get Colorado and you're like, sweet, here we go. Sweep them 3-4 games. And then they end up laying an egg in the first one, or they blow a lead in the 9th inning against the Rockies. So ultimately, they're really going to actually, for the first time all year, have to take advantage against teams like that. I can definitely see a scenario where they do real well against some of these other teams, like I mentioned, with these bad pitching staffs. But ultimately, the wiggle room they do have is pretty much, going like 2-4 or 2-5 against LA, or 3-4 against LA. But then you would have to pretty much sweep 2 of those teams outside of LA, and then you're looking at winning basically every other series if you do really struggle with the Dodgers. So everything's really going to come down to that. And it's unfortunate because we look back in those, what was it, back-to-back series against the Marlins and Pirates where they got swept, lost 6 in a row, I believe it was, all at home. We said it, as a lot of other people did. That's really going to come back to bite them in the ass unless they go on some magical run here in September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And LD says, Giants are still in it. Why don't you guys encourage instead of discourage? Hey, man, we're sitting here saying that there is still a chance. We're not sitting here saying that they have zero chance. It's just the math is the math. Like, that's just being objective, man. Like, the math is the math. They are not.
Yeah.
They are 6 games out, and really they are 7 games out because guess what? The Mets have the tiebreaker. So they have a 7-game disadvantage on the Mets still. It is not in their favor, but like Ricky said, if they can turn this into a 10 or 12 game winning streak, suddenly they have a shot. They're back in it. So to me, they're still not quite in it. But it is not impossible for them to play themselves back into it.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of that, prior to this last series, statistically speaking, the Giants had roughly a 1.8% chance of making the playoffs. So it's not, negativity or anything in the slightest. It's just being realistic about what the odds and projections are.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. So would we love to see them go on a Moneyball run, set a winning streak record, and shock the world? Abso-freaking-lutely. But we're just keeping it real, man.
Yeah.
So we obviously want to see them pull it off, but we're also realistic at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Jenny says here, we are almost to 2,000 subscribers on this channel. We are going to do a giveaway. I'm feeling pretty confident. I shouldn't early call this, but I feel pretty confident we'll be able to do this next week. But when we hit 2K at that week's live show, we will do it. If we do hit it today on this live, it will still happen next week. So I'm sorry, but yeah, go ahead and still hit that like and subscribe, and hopefully we can get there today. Because we weren't there before today, so we hadn't decided what the giveaway is going to be yet. So we'll try and figure that out. If we hit it before the minor league update drops on Tuesday morning, then I will throw a mention out there of what the giveaway will be. So make sure you check that one out. But yeah, we appreciate all the support you guys have given. We are like 8 away, it looks like right now, from 2,000. It's pretty crazy how quickly that we have gone up.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, send it to 8 people before the live ends. Thank you, everyone.
Spam your buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Create accounts for your kids. If they're like mine, that's 2 years old, already has an email set up.
Hey, Daniel, I've already told you what the conditions are for the Eldridge jersey to get given away. Either Patrick Bailey is off the team next season, or we hit, what was it, like 10K subscribers or 5K. We can do somewhere in there. We'll figure it out. But one of those two. So you better start pulling for Bailey to get replaced by Adley Rutschman.
Or make 3,000 emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I you know what? I've got like I've said to people, I have a signed baseball from future Hall of Fame manager Bruce Bochy sitting up there that whatever one he doesn't do, we'll throw that on the next one. So
I've got a signed baseball from future Hall of Famer Joey Bart too, if anyone's interested. And I'm not joking. About the Hall of Fame part, yeah, but I do have the baseball.
Hey, LDO, if you do want a little positivity other than already what we mentioned here, you can look at the Mets' remaining schedule. I'll give you that. They have the Tigers, the Reds, the Phillies, the Rangers, the Padres, the Nationals, the Cubs, and then they finish with 3 against the Marlins, who they're currently playing for, I believe, a 3 or 4 game series. So,
yeah.
So there's a little positivity there, and the Reds' schedule I wouldn't say is nearly as easy as the Giants. The Mets definitely have the toughest of the 3 schedules by far. But I mean, I'll give you that. It really just comes down to, at the end of the day, the Giants finally having like a real legitimate heater. Because what they did early on in the season was good baseball, but they really were only hot to start the year, and then they kind of just tread water for a good, 2 months or so. I wouldn't say they got into a real legit heater like the Padres just recently had.
Yeah. He says, I'm a realist who watched the Giants come back from being down 2-0 in the NLDS when people said they have no chance. There is a big difference here, and that big difference is the Giants controlled their destiny. They were the ones playing the team. It's a lot different than when the other team is you don't have any games remaining against them, and you don't have control over that. But hey, maybe they'll go on a Rocktober type run. Remember what do they win, like 21 out of 22 or something like that on their way to their World Series?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And hey, there was the year that the Giant was 2010 when they came back and they're down by like 10 plus games against the Padres. The only difference I would say there is I believe that was at some point in like late July, early August. So they got going on that a lot earlier, and it did require a historically awful collapse by the Padres that year too. So it was a combination of both. So it's absolutely possible. The Giants have to handle their business, and then they can't really worry about anything else, and hope somebody else collapses or just plays really mediocre baseball, and then the Giants might have a shot.
Amen to that, Tom.
Yeah, pretty much. So what do you guys want to chat about? We got lots to talk about today. We got Adames is having a crazy second half. We could dive in the numbers a little bit there if we want. Yes, this will be a topic today at some point. Maybe not right this second, but we will be talking about this. What else you guys want to touch on? Bryce did hit a nuke. For anybody that wants to I saw somebody sent me or quoted my tweet and said somebody should write an obituary piece for this baseball. And I agree. I think I finally saw where the baseball landed.
Where did it land?
I'm pretty sure it landed. You see where those people are on the swing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it lands in the trees up above them.
I thought it pretty much left the stadium, but it's so hard to tell with their camera.
Look right above the people in the swing. Oh, it froze. Did it freeze on you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Oh, here we go. Let's back it up.
Yeah, I think I did see it there at the end. Right where that little green bush is almost behind the swing.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but good Lord.
And I sent you the
470-foot homer.
And I sent you the clip of where the pitch was. It was like 3 inches inside, right on his hands, bro. And like we texted about it earlier. Yeah, he has no business hitting that thing that hard and that far. He's just insane.
A player that is 6'7" should not have quick enough hands to get inside a baseball, keep it fair, and hit it 470 feet on a pitch that's that far inside. Yeah, that is absurd. I mean, I was about to tweet out, does somebody know the distance to clear the cove? After I saw that ball.
Hit that thing to Mission Rock.
Yeah, good Lord. That's some crazy power. Dream on,
guys, man. Hey, on that note, Willy's first home run today was really impressive too. I think that was 410 or 417. Like, that was a big man's home run. You don't see many go that far up the bleachers. It was about halfway up there, and it was funny. I was at work watching it, and I showed one of my coworkers, and he's like, "You think that was that far?" And I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah." I'm like, that's like 500 feet to clear the bleachers, and that was halfway up. I'm like, that is no joke. Not many home runs go up that high.
Yeah, I think it was crazy.
Not in San Francisco.
Yeah. It was like 107 exit velocity. Yes. I think they measured it like 417, which part of me feels like it was probably farther than that if it didn't just run into the bleachers. It might have gone a little, I feel like, normal, like if it landed on flat ground, like I feel like it was probably like 440 or so. But I mean, he crushed it, and
Yeah.
his splits aren't as drastic as I felt like. He almost felt a little Conforto-ish this season, where it's like, God, this guy hits all his homers on the road. I took a look at it. He has hit 15 on the road, but he has also hit 9 in Oracle after the 2 today.
Yeah.
So it's not quite as bad as I felt like it was. And I think next season, as he gets a little more comfortable, maybe plays his game more, because I think he has pressed a bit in Oracle. I do think he'll hit more in coming seasons.
Yeah, and it just kind of goes to show, like, the first 2 months of this year were brutal for him, just absolutely brutal, and yet he's still, on pace for 85, 86 RBIs, and he's on 29 home run pace. Like, there's a realistic chance that he could hit 30, and he only had like 5 to start the season through, May. So yeah, it just goes to show what kind of heater he's been on the second half of the season in particular. And it's been impressive, man. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, because I think I texted you guys the splits, the by month splits for him. Because he has home runs by month. Let's see, 13, 17. Okay, this is updated since then. But home runs by month, Willie had 2 in April, 3 in May, 4 in June, 7 in July, and he now has 8 in August.
And counting.
Yeah, there are 3 more games in August. So I will give him that. There is a chance that he adds to that total. So he definitely has a shot.
Mark.
30 is in play. I had said earlier in the month, because he put up 7 in July. I remember saying, if he can have another 7 in August, I'll give him. I will give him a fair shot come September at putting another 7 on the board and getting to 30. And he's at 8 and counting. So hopefully maybe he'll sneak another one in there, make it reasonable. He has 4 homers already versus Colorado in 6 games, and he does have 6 more games against Colorado.
I was just going to ask if they play in Colorado.
They do. They have 1 more series in San Francisco, 1 more in Colorado, so they've got a shot. I don't want to spend all off season talking about, Rafael Devers hit 32 homers this season, but only 17 are in SF. Does that count? No, I don't even want to have that talk. I want Willie to just do it, so we can just say, no matter what, someone did it. I don't care, because I'm tired of this conversation. It is such a tired number that they bring up. They're bringing up on ESPN graphics, and it's so old that they can't even get it right when they bring up the graphic. It's just like, because they're just like, 2002, 2004, who gives a crap? It's too long anyway. So I just want this to no longer be a thing. Let Ramos and the left field streak next season, somebody steal 30 bags next season, and let's get all these dumb statistical anomalies out of the way, these droughts, and just get them all done.
So I was just going to say, I was like, it would be so Giants to not allow us to have that streak broken in left field by trading Ramos for like a Steven Kwan or something, and be like, oh my fucking God, please just end our misery here. Every time with, the Fox games and the, like the Sunday night baseball games were notorious for those basic stats. It's like, dude, do you guys just pull up your same old notes every single year and you're like, oh, what did we talk about this year? Yeah, this still applies. Run it back. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really hope Willie does it. 6 games total against Colorado, and I did look. The 2 games in San Francisco, or 2 of the 3 games in San Francisco, are during the day. So even more reason to feast off that pitching, have the ball carry out a little bit more. And honestly, even if Willie gets to like 28, I'd be stoked, because it can help, tear down this narrative that guys can't hit home runs when they come and sign long-term deals in San Francisco. Because at the end of the day, Willie ended up making the adjustment that us and lots of others, even on, the post-game shows, had said early on in the year. Willie needs to start pulling the ball in San Francisco more, because a lot of his struggles were he liked to, go the other way. And attack that right center gap in Milwaukee. And you can get away with that more, where you don't have to completely crush a ball the other way and it's going over the fence because the ball just carries there. You're playing inside most of the time. And then you see Willy, once he starts pulling the ball more and he started getting really close to, taking a lot of balls out. And then as we've gotten into the summer, ball carries a little bit more. And now all those balls that were getting caught on the warning track are now leaving the yard. And, had he been acclimated to this environment over a full season, just from the start of this year, we probably easily see him get 30 home runs this year. And, for as bad as his start was, you look at it and you're like, man, this dude has gone on an absolute tear and is much more comfortable now. Like Cody mentioned, his home road splits are going to tell you that he's obviously not as good of a hitter at Oracle, but I mean, that's going to happen with pretty much anybody, but it would still really change a lot of narratives, that would show, hey, if, you're a good hitter, you can absolutely hit here. And like we mentioned before the season, you get 81 other games outside of Oracle. It's not like you're playing every single game in San Francisco. You get lots of games in Colorado as a Giant. You get lots in Arizona. I would even say Dodger Stadium really isn't that hard anymore to hit them out. You got 2 short porches in the corners. You got tons of yards you can take advantage of and hit homers, and you just got to have a better approach. And Willy's been much better since June. So, and then of course, I mean, Devers has gotten comfortable too. I mean, we see him attacking center field. He's gone on a nice little run, and then we even saw him go right down the left field line going the other way 2 nights ago or last night.
Yeah, that Oppo bomb was super impressive, especially like Cody and I were talking about in the green room with it being a night game. Just the fact he had a multi-home run game and an Oppo bomb to left, that was impressive. But you know what I just thought about, since we're on the Adames topic? Remember in Coors a few weeks back when Willy hit one like 418 feet straightaway center, and it was like half a foot below the line and just bounced off the wall? Like, we could have used that bomb right now.
Yeah,
that would have been nice to have. What, he'd be at 25 with a whole month to go.
Oh, the one in Arizona.
Oh, Arizona, not Colorado.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's 420 feet or whatever to clear it, and he hit it like 419 and a half.
Yeah, that pissed
literally
me off, bro.
It was like the yellow line, and the ball hit like here.
They reviewed and everything. I was like, come on, man, we need it.
Yeah.
That'd be nice to have right now.
Yep, I agree. He's had a few that he hit one off the center field fence in San Francisco. He's had a few that were a couple that just died on the track in night games.
A lot that just died.
It's just tough, man. But yeah, we're gonna break down his numbers here. I think you guys will appreciate some of this. I wrote down some of these. I tried to see if Fangraphs updated his WRC plus to include today's game in the stretch. Unfortunately, they did not. So I'm just going to guesstimate on that one because they had it at 136. I'm guessing it'll be probably more like 140-ish after he hit 2 bombs today. But going back now, this is since June 10th. Now, why June 10th? That would be the game he started in Colorado where they were playing in Detroit. They finally said, dude, you're getting a day. Or no, sorry, they were playing in San Francisco at that point. I believe that was the game Chapman got hurt. So they were playing in San Francisco. They said they told Willy, you're getting the day off. They had a day off the next day, and then they were going to Colorado. So that since he got that day off, and then he went to Colorado, he is hitting 255 with, I've lost the stat. There we go. He's hitting 255 with an 854 OPS. He has 19 home runs, 28 extra base hits, 43 RBIs, and an 11.8% walk rate with a 25.1% strikeout rate. And like I said, 140-ish WRC plus. So he's been 40% better than league average. And then his defense, I can't break the defense down to that specific sample size, but I do know that when May 1st rolled around, he was at -5 outs above average. He is currently, not including today, at 4 outs above average for the season. So since then, he has been worth 9. And I will go ahead and put my life savings on the fact that he will get credited with another out above average for that play he made in the hole today. So I'm going to comfortably and confidently say he's at 5 at this point. So he has been one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball since May 1st, along with having just a great middle of the order run producing bat for the team. He has been worth every penny that they paid him this season. It's a long contract. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, a lot of time, a lot of people want to look at the batting average, or they want to look at what he's done and look at the team's record, and they're like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. And it's like, you know what? I think it's BS. Like, just because the team collapsed around him, I don't pin that on Willy. Obviously, we wish we would have gotten more out of him in the first half. But in the second half, when they were in a playoff spot and in a position to make a run, he played his best. And that's all you can really hope for out of the guy. So credit to Willy. He's had a great year. And I feel like he's been worth everything that we had hoped when they got him. And hopefully he ends the 30 homer streak.
Yeah, you nailed it. I was just going to say during that, this is the guy you paid for. This is the guy you went out and signed to the biggest contract in franchise history. This version that you've seen over the last 2-3 months, 1,000%. So, like you mentioned, hopefully it carries on into next season. Hopefully he finishes strong this season. If he somehow finishes with 30 home runs and 90 RBIs, we are going to be just absolutely ecstatic.
Yeah. And this, and keep in mind, everybody, that sample size, I said, it's not just like, oh, he was hot for a couple of weeks. That is a 287 plate appearance sample size. That is a huge sample size that he's done this in. So he's worth, I know on Fangraphs, he's worth 2.9 F4. After today's game, it's probably going to be like 3.1. I mean, I know they assign dollar value based on how much WAR a person has accrued in a season. I think he is at, they've pegged him at 23 million, not including today's game. So yeah, he's on track to match or better the dollar total they're paying him. So yeah.
And he's actually currently on pace to far exceed the season he had just 2 seasons ago with the Brewers. Obviously, last year was like the big time outlier year entering his free agency, where he hit 30 bombs. And just 2 years ago, he finished with 24 home runs and 80 RBIs. He's currently at 22 home runs and he's in the 60s with RBIs. He's about 14 away from 80, I believe. So he can absolutely do that. And if he goes on a tear, he's going to completely exceed what he did 2 seasons ago. And ultimately, nobody can say a damn thing about his contract and what he did this season if he ends up finishing strong. Because ultimately, he still has a chance to get his average up into like the 230s. I know all the old heads want to complain about the batting average. That's not what you paid for. Ultimately, you knew generally where his average would lie if he does what he does in an average season. And if he's giving you 25 plus home runs, 80 RBIs, and playing, very far above average defense, there is absolutely no way you can complain about the guy's production. This is exactly what we're looking for. The Giants desperately needed a shortstop, and what he's done for the last, 2.5 months is nothing to be complaining about whatsoever. There's a lot of other spots we could be looking at, so people have been, hard on him throughout the season, but he's completely redeemed himself with the way he's played recently. And then you just hope that going into next season with him being more comfortable in a new city with a new organization and a new yard that's a lot more pitcher friendly, that he'll come out, a lot more consistent to start the year. Doesn't mean he has to, be on fire completely, but just be a more consistent hitter, not be one of the worst hitters in the league and be far below average, league average. And ultimately they'll be able to sustain a lot more success on the offensive side.
So currently, as it stands, Willy's at 24 home runs with 69 RBIs. And to put that in perspective, the last 7 games, including today, 7 games, he has 5 home runs with a 917 slugging percentage. So it's obviously a long shot, but I mean, if he can duplicate that over his next 7 games, I feel pretty confident about 30.
Yeah, he's one hot week away from being like a slam dunk.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
as long as he doesn't just go ice cold. So I mean, you never know. Keep stacking them, see what happens. And you know, to Ricky's point about the batting average, it's like, we need a couple guys that hit for a high average in this lineup, but you also need guys that are going to provide the thump and get the guys in. And that's been his calling card in his career, is being good with runners in scoring position. And, you know, he's admittedly not been as good in those situations as he has been in the past. There's still time for those numbers to go up. I think he was hitting like 240 or so with runners in scoring position. Over the last couple of years, he had hit between like 260 and 300. So, you know, hopefully he can rebound those numbers a bit. There is time. But, you know, you need the guys that are going to hit 25 to 30 bombs and drive in 80 to 100. Like, those guys need to be in your lineup too. It's all about balance. So,
I mean, realistically, going back to the batting average topic, he's like a lifetime 240, 245 hitter. He's currently in the mid 220s, like 227 right now. So, I mean, if he finishes the season on, you know, a solid note, he's going to be right below his, you know, career average. I mean, you knew what you were getting with Adames. You're not going to get a high batting average guy. So that's not really a concern of mine. But it's more so like you mentioned, it's more so the situational hitting, the defense, and the pop. And that's really what matters more to me.
Yeah, for sure. And to your point, like, I'm not big on complaining when guys are putting up what they've been in their career. Like, you paid a guy to be what he is, and that's what he is. You know, my complaint with Chapman being as bad as he is with runners in scoring position, as an example, he's always been bad, but this year he's been like next level terrible. So it's like, I just need you to at least do what you've normally done, which is, you know, 40 points higher with runners in scoring position than he's given this season. So, I mean, it's just, it's when you're paying guys to give you their normal production and they don't, that it hurts. And Willie has met what they paid him for. So, and if he steps up from there, then sweet, more power to him.
Amen.
So now I think we want to talk some Adley Rutschman.
Let's do it.
All right. So obviously, I think many people might have seen it, that Bleacher Report dropped a, you know, top 10 top 10 destinations for Adley Rutschman if the Orioles were to trade him. And I mean, I will say this. I don't think it's a slam dunk that the Orioles are going to trade him, though I would lean that it's better than 50%. There is a lot of logic to not moving him from their perspective, because I know there are some question marks with Basayo on whether or not he'll stick at catcher. I know, you know, they obviously just drafted a couple guys early this season that are catchers with, they got Irish, but, and I know there's questions on whether he'll stick at catcher also, but didn't they get Bodine?
Yeah.
So he will stick at catcher. He's actually very good defensively. So they did grab a couple catchers. Now, that was this year, so they're probably a few years away. So that there's 2 years on Rutschman's deal. So there's some logic to thinking that they might hang on to him a little bit with Basayo's question marks at the position. But also, I could see them wanting to move Rutschman because there is 2 years left, and this is going to be his best value. Even though he's coming off a down year, this is going to probably be the time where they can get the most value, unless they just think, hey, let's keep him for half a year, see if he recovers, plays well, and then we'll try and move him at the deadline. But it would make sense to move him from that side, try and get some pitching, which is something they really need. I don't personally think this deal is going to be as expensive as some people think. I know a lot of people think it's going to mean, you have to include Bryce or Joshua. I don't think so. I think you can get by with, I mean, you might have to give up like a Johnny Level. I can maybe see that. I don't even really think it's going to end up that far either. But I think you could probably get by trading someone like, Carson Wisenhunt or, Hayden Birdsong, and then add in like one of those young arms in San Jose that's got a ton of upside, but is a ways off. And then maybe a third prospect in there somewhere.
You know what's hilarious? I'll let you finish in a second, but just going off of that, what's hilarious is you go on Giants X and everybody's talking about the whole Adley Rutschman, Patrick Bailey comp, and they say, "Oh, Adley Rutschman's he's a downgrade. He's not even an upgrade over Patrick Bailey." Blah 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 blah, and then they go and say he's going to be too expensive to trade for. Well, if the guy sucks, then he would be cheap in your logic, right? So just make it make sense. So yeah. I just gotta point that out. Giants X is a freaking cesspool.
It can be. That's for sure. And I've been seeing this misconception that he is not really an upgrade. And this is why I hate the WAR statistic, because I'm sorry, but not all F WAR or B WAR or whatever is created equally. Like
Or
this is not
R2D2 war.
Yeah. Like I don't know how, like just watching the games, you can see the difference. One of them is, sure, he's an elite defender. A lot of people will call him a generational defender. He's 100th percentile. I get it. It's totally fine. But you watch the games and he's a net zero in the box. Like he's a massive black hole in the box. The other guy, he's a plus defender. He handles himself just fine behind the plate. He's not hurting you in any way back there. Is he a downgrade from Bailey? Sure. But then you look at him in the box, and even in a down year, he's putting up numbers that Bailey hasn't even come close to sniffing. Like it's not, these aren't comparable players, and he has the upside. And then you look at his offensive profile also. He doesn't strike out a lot. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. He draws walks. He gets on base. His batted ball metrics suggest quite a bit of positive regression, where he's going to, hopefully recover a little bit of that and be a 250, 260 hitter again. He's dealt with some bad luck. He had one hot streak that got really interrupted when he, I think he pulled his oblique, or strained his oblique. So he missed like a month, and then he got injured again. So yeah, there's some injury concerns there. I could make the same argument with Bailey, who's had like 4 concussions since he's been up. So, I can see the arguments, but I just like, to me, you watch them play and it is just, they have completely different impacts on the game. And the Giants need more hitters that are like Rutschman, his profile. And you realistically look up and down this roster right now, and they only have 2 or 3 spots they can actually improve. As much as we like go, okay, they need this, they need this, they need this. And then you look at the roster and it goes, okay, you got right field. I think everyone's pretty confident like right field can be improved. Maybe, maybe Matos is the answer. Maybe he's not. Second base, maybe. And then catcher. Like, that's it. So, I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts?
So that was exactly what my point was going to be, was, when everybody collectively agrees that the Giants absolutely have to make upgrades to their lineup, it has to involve taking off the Patrick Bailey colored lenses and actually looking at things from an objective standpoint. And that is that he is, without a doubt, objectively speaking, one of the few spots you can upgrade from. It is plain and simple. And when you look at the potential options for the Giants out there, Adley Rutschman is one of the most clear and obvious ways you can do that. Like you said, maybe they need to upgrade from Matos and actually find somebody a little bit more stable, a little bit more mature, older. But who is that going to be? You have guys like, Kyle Schwarber, for example, out there. Giants aren't going to be able to plug him in right field in Oracle. That's not going to happen. He can barely play left field as is. You have a guy like Kyle Tucker out there. Well, that's going to be a huge bidding war. He's going to be the number 1 free agent out there. So who knows if that happens? Maybe they pull that off. And if they do, then we can have a completely different discussion. And you could probably argue that you can afford to have Patrick Bailey back there, because who cares? And then at that point you have honestly like 1 through 6 locked up in your lineup. The other option, like Cody mentioned, is second base. At second base, you have a guy in Casey Schmidt who has an above average arm, who has played pretty damn well at second base since he has been given the full-time starting position over there. He's shown nice chemistry with Willy, turning double plays. And then he's also hitting at a pace where he's a 20 home run guy if you give him a full season of starting at second base, given the production he's put out so far since he's been a starter. So yes, you can upgrade from there, but where are you going to do that? The list is pretty much Bo Bichette, and that's it. And again, Bo Bichette set himself up for a really nice payday as well, because he's a guy we were pushing and pushing and pushing for, like we are Adley right now. And guess who's number 2 in all of the major leagues in batting average right now? Bo Bichette. 307 hitter. I believe it was a 123 OPS plus. And if anybody doesn't know that stat, 100 is about league average. So he is significantly above league average this season. That might very well be a move that the Giants pivot to if they decide, like with Juan Soto, that they have no chance at Kyle Tucker. But if those two options don't happen, you absolutely have to consider the possibility of bringing in Adley. The one thing I would argue with Adley on the trade market, as far as why, maybe the Orioles don't get as much for him, is not necessarily because of some defensive limitations or, the down year offensively, but also because the Orioles have completely pigeonholed themselves as an organization in desperately needing starting pitching, to the point that they gave up 2 really solid prospects for Trevor Rogers last year at the deadline. Like, that was absolutely insane. 2 guys that we really liked in their organization, and one who was an all-star this year for the Marlins in Kyle Stowers. That was a horrible trade on all fronts, a complete huge overpay. So you figure a guy like Trevor Rogers, who, yes, he was in the big leagues already, but really wasn't that good of a pitcher for the last couple of seasons. You compare that to us potentially shipping off like a Wizenhunt or a Birdsong, and not saying that at all will get that trade deadline or that trade dead, but ultimately you throw a guy like that in who is major league ready. That's a huge amount of that value you would need to get that trade done. Like Cody said, you're probably going to have to package another top guy in there, whether it's a hitter or another pitcher, maybe at the lower levels. But this is not, in my opinion, a trade that's going to be like the JT Realmuto trade when he went from Miami to Philly, where they gave up 2 high-end top 100 prospects, 1 pitcher and 1 hitter. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, and you absolutely have to consider it.
Yeah. I remember last year talking Bo Bichette, and we were like, we're looking at all his batted ball data and all that stuff, and I'm like, he's literally hitting the ball very similarly to how he did his whole career, but he was dealing with some injuries, and I'm like,
yep,
this just screams this guy's going to just go back to being the guy that he was. Sure as shit, here we are. He's hitting 307. It's just nuts. I would love Bichette. I don't think they can reasonably afford him, unfortunately. Like, I don't think they could afford to have 3 positions, all 4 positions in your infield locked up to, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever. That gets expensive and really tough. And especially you're putting yourself in a position where you're not going to have a ton of resources to put elsewhere. And then also in 4 or 5 years, those guys might be pretty old and expensive, and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I'm not sure how realistic getting a Bichette would be. I'd love it. I'd be all for it if they did it. I just enjoy the now and be like, cool, we'll deal with the future problems then. But not sure how realistic that one would end up being.
And not just that, but you're going to have to convince him to change positions. I mean, there's going to be a team that's desperate enough for a shortstop where they're just going to pay him to play his usual positions. So But no, I remember all last offseason, man, we were pounding the table about Bo Bichette. And we got a
And
lot
last year at the trade deadline too,
then
because
too.
the difference is you're not paying him. You're getting him on a basically a short-term deal, while his value is low, and while the Blue Jays were considering getting rid of him because he was in a down year. And all along, we pretty much knew Vlad Jr. was going to be the guy that gets paid, and Bo probably wouldn't get paid by Toronto.
Yeah.
I just remember we were diving into all the metrics, like, bro, he's gonna turn it around. He's gonna turn it around. And like Cody said, sure enough, dude.
It's gonna happen, man.
Yeah, I'm with Cody. That one doesn't really make as much sense as much now that you'd have to actually pay him.
So this also, and this is why Bichette would be like the only person, because I know Gleyber Torres, he's out there, but what I'm mainly illustrating with this is look at how weak the second base position. We've got a Mauricio Dubon sighting going on at number 8 there. Like if Casey Schmidt at $800,000 is a 250 hit, if he keeps growing a little bit and developing, and he's a 250, 260 hitter that hits 20 plus bombs, knocks in, 70 runs, and plays above average defense at second base. Like realistically, he's going to be a, 2 to 3 WAR player at $800,000. Like, are you going to go pay Gleyber Torres $15 to $20 million or go give up significant, assets to acquire any of these guys? I like Nico Horner. I mean, he's a dude, but like, I can't envision this team really being able to upgrade that position without, giving up a ton of assets, unfortunately.
Yeah, agreed.
Me too, Mike. Terang's a beast. That guy's so good.
And the difference with Adley too is you've got two years of arbitration before he hits free agency as well. So it gives you an evaluation process if you do trade for him and make sure that he is actually somebody you potentially want to keep around long term. And again, like I just said, you're looking at like how the Bo Bichette situation was, where you're looking at what his career numbers are, and even really at his worst besides this year, you're looking at a guy from the catcher position who can potentially hit you 20 bombs. And you add another lefty into the lineup as well.
And to that point, like, I understand the value of a great defensive catcher. I understand, the hype that Patrick Bailey, has with some fans with his framing. I get all that. Like we mentioned earlier, Rutschman is an above average defender. So you're not going to take that big of a, downgrade defensively. Pop time and, throwing runners out, that's probably going to be the biggest dip that you see. But the biggest increase, which in my opinion is going to be more valuable in comparison, is how many times this season, and especially during the Giants skid, did we see Patrick Bailey come up to bat in the bottom of the 8th or the bottom of the 9th in a huge, scenario or huge situation where you got runners on, you need a timely hit, and you get a weak pop-up, or you get a strikeout, or you get a ground out. And I mean, it's become a literal meme on X where it's like, bro, how many times do we have to see Patrick Bailey come up in these types of situations? Now imagine you swap him out with an Adley Rutschman. Now you have a legitimate threat at the plate. Yes, he's had a down year this season. That's obvious, and everybody knows that. But just the presence alone of having a Rutschman up in those situations in comparison to a Bailey, I mean, you're probably gaining 5-6 wins off of that alone. And now, if those 5-6 wins, what kind of difference does that make in a season like this? It's these little things that I'm talking about where, yeah, you're probably going to take a hit when it comes to the pop time. You're probably going to take a little bit of a hit when it comes to the framing. But the increase and the advantages that you're going to get, especially offensively, that speaks a lot more volumes in my opinion. So I don't really think it should be a debate this offseason. I think if you've got the players that Baltimore wants, and you can make such a deal, absolutely You absolutely 100% do that. And that also ties back into what we've talked about for, months and months and months on end. The Giants have one of the weakest, farm systems in terms of catchers and in terms of major league ready depth. So if anything, this is just going to be a win-win all around. So I really don't see why this shouldn't be priority number one this offseason.
Yeah. Agreed. He's like I said, he fits he fits the offensive profile that they're needing. And I mean, you look at his defense, he's still 70th percentile defense. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not big on asking guys to be players they're not. And for his career, he's a 116 OPS plus. He's 16% better than league average with 70th percentile defense. And really going back a couple of years, I want to say, what was it 94th percentile in 22, 87th in 23. He had a down year last season. I don't know if he was dealing with injuries or what, but that bounced back to 70th percentile this season. Obviously, the bat for the last couple of years hasn't been great. Last season, he was still above average by a little bit with the bat. So to me, it raises. It gives you kind of what you're needing offensively. It gives you a little boost, gives you a different profile, gives you, if he's a career 256 hitter with a career 758 OPS, if he gives you close to those numbers while being a plus defender still behind the plate, that is a significant upgrade for this team that they can make and they should make, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the other thing worth noting too is this dude, I'm pretty sure he was a Golden Spikes winner, and coming out of college, he had elite scout grades as a glove and an arm. So this isn't like some aging guy or some guy that was just kind of a fringe defender behind the plate that, they did away with because he was a good hitter and could catch also. Like, this is a elite defender coming out of college. So this isn't a guy that doesn't have anything in there. And he's only, I believe, a year older than Bailey. So this isn't like you're going and trading for some old vet and you're like, okay, we're all in on the World Series now. Who cares what happens in 2 years? He's 27 years old, man. Like, this is not some old player. This guy is right in the middle of his prime. You just got to really keep him healthy. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. I can't get behind the notion that Buster watches Patrick Bailey every single day and is inspired by his catcher, his, you would hope leader behind the dish, going up looking absolutely defeated every time he has runners on base. And while, of course, we all acknowledge if you're going to play that level of defense, yes, you don't need to be above average offensively. You don't even necessarily need to be league average offensively, but you just cannot go up there just completely defeated at the plate because everybody can see it. He looks like he has no fight in him whatsoever. And I can't buy into the fact that Buster's not going to keep his options open and be aggressive. He's a winner. And I mean, what has anybody seen out of Bailey that shows that he's getting better as a hitter? If anything, I would say he's gotten significantly worse every year since he's been in the league, because it's not like he's just whiffing on good breaking balls. The guy just looks like if he's not getting the pitch he's looking for, he just looks completely lost. And I can't see Buster buying into a guy long term that looks like that, because ultimately, back in the days of no DH in the National League, you looked at a guy like Brandon Crawford, who was typically your 8 hitter, and Brandon Crawford hitting in front of a pitcher, he was always getting terrible pitches to hit because they knew they didn't have to give him anything good because there's a pitcher behind him. What do you think that does for the rest of the lineup when Bailey's hitting 8th and 9th and their 7th and 8th hitters come up with, runners on, say, 2nd and 3rd and no outs or 1 out? They look at it and say, oh, Bailey's on deck or Bailey's in the hole. And ultimately, we don't have to give these guys anything to hit. We can throw them some nasty breaking balls in the dirt. Hopefully they whiff at it or pop it up. And then, we have Patrick Bailey coming up next. and we know he's an automatic out. He's going to strike out, or maybe even we get lucky and he hits into a double play because he's a catcher. You know, it does a lot more harm to the bottom of a lineup than people think, and especially when you have guys that can hit, 4, 5, and 6, and are occasionally hitting a double or whatever, or you get a couple guys on through some walks. It really hurts the team a lot more than people put out there.
And your eyes are not deceiving you, Ricky. He has statistically gone worse year by year since he's been in the league. Facts.
Never gets old.
I was like, man, I'm gonna have to. I have to do it. Oh man, for our Spotify listeners, that is why you watch the YouTube stream.
Amen.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that you guys summed it up great. I mean, it's just, to me, it's a move that's worth taking, because even this season, at what has been Adley's absolute worst while he's dealing with some injuries and everything, he's still worth, 93 WRC plus, and Bailey's worth 59. I mean, he's 34% better relative to league average at his absolute worst.
The numbers that Adley Rutschman is putting up this year at his absolute worst, just, for him, that is a terrible year. These are numbers that Giants fans were saying in the offseason that if Bailey was able to reach, he would be an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
And I'm not even making a joke. That this is the honest truth there.
Yeah. And this is the, like, you're getting him, and like I said, I'm only expecting what he's kind of been career numbers wise. We all know what the upside is. Like, we've all seen what the high end is. And if you do get that, then you just got like a lineup changing presence that you just added to your team. That's going to be a plus defender. So to me, there is some risk, of course. I mean, the injuries are there. If this downward trajectory is real and he just continues on it, like there is risk, but it's like these guys said, it's only 2 years.
Exactly.
I'm pretty much out on Bailey. I've seen absolutely zero development out of his bat. I give him props. I've given him tons of credit this season. I was super hard on him last season. Everyone heard it. That was a sore subject for me, watching his defense, because I felt like it was extremely overrated last season. It is not overrated this season. He has been really good defensively. He's one of the worst hitters I've ever seen out of an everyday player.
Straight up.
That's just, he's not a starting player. He should be a backup somewhere with his defense, or he needs to go to a team like Houston when they had Maldonado, where they're just freaking stacked offensively for 8 spots and they just don't care what they get out of that guy. So that's the reality, because I've seen a few people that have said, well, the Giants should just build an offense that doesn't rely on Bailey. And I'm like, okay, show me in the last 20 years where we've accomplished that. Like, we're the Giants. As much as we're known for home runs and all these different things in this franchise history, they have never in the last 20 years had an offense that could withstand a complete black hole like him. So, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I think it's a risk worth taking, in my opinion.
1,000%.
Jose Trevino of the Reds is exactly who Giants fans that love Patrick Bailey think he is, but he's not. If you look at a guy like Jose Trevino, he's exactly what, when Giants fans talk about Patrick Bailey and say, hey, if he's just this level of an offensive player, he's absolutely fine as a starting catcher. Oh, may have lost code. Oh, maybe not.
No, I'm there.
But Trevino is basically what you kind of wish for with Patrick Bailey. He's like roughly like a 650 OPS type hitter. He's going to hit in the low 200s, only going to hit a few home runs. He's going to give you Gold Glove defense back there. Patrick Bailey, on the other hand, he is consistently in the low 200s. He has one actual home run that went over the fence, and he's consistently in the 400s and 500s OPS wise. You can't have that. And the eye test does a lot more for you than just purely looking at the numbers and saying, oh, he strikes out 30 to 31% of the time. He has no power. He doesn't drive any runs in. He walks a little bit here and there. You actually watch the games and you see what we're talking about. And a lot of it finally came to light when he, had the infamous, 4 strikeouts in 2 games looking where he just let fastballs get grooved in right at the knees, and he acted like baffled that they were called strikes, even though they're several inches above the knees. It was just like, what are we doing? That's not even on a corner, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's just right down Broadway, dude. I mean, that's a pitch you'd be looking to hit if you're looking for a fastball. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the level of offense that, you envision Buster Posey potentially being okay for it in the short term, when Buster Posey, is saying we don't need him to be some great type hitter. So that's pretty much what I'm getting at, a Jose Trevino type. But then even then, he was playing Gold Glove defense for the Yankees, and what did they do? They quickly moved off of him and replaced him with Austin Wells, who is a better hitter.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Like, every team that has guys like Bailey, they move off of them. It just is what it is. They're like, oh, we have a Gold Glover that can't hit. Well, the second they cost more than $1 million or a couple $1 million, like, we're gonna move on and get a guy that's cheap that they can either hit or play good defense. Like, it's just what teams do, and there's a ton of evidence of this. So,
yeah, especially with the way the league is going, with potentially moving to an automated strike zone or a challenge system potentially. It is going to not only deteriorate Patrick Bailey's value, but you can also develop a more average defender behind the plate a lot more easily than you can with a Gold Glove caliber catcher and turning them into a better bat. It's a lot easier the other way around. Going back to Austin Wells, he had really poor scouting grades coming out in the same draft that Patrick Bailey was drafted in. And while he's not some amazing catcher defensively, he's a lot better than what was written about him when he came out. And he's at least showing off some nice power. He has an okay OPS for a catcher. While he's hitting for a low average, at least he's contributing something offensively where you can afford a guy like that lower in your lineup.
Sorry, Cody, I'll let you take over, but I already had the stat pulled up. Yadier Molina's first full season in 2005, he had 8 home runs, 49 RBIs, and he hit 252 with a 358 slugging and 654 OPS. That would be a career year for Patrick Bailey, and that was Yadi's first full season, and Yadi was not known for his bat.
Yeah. And also, sidebar on that, he was 22 when that happened.
Yeah.
Patrick Bailey is 26. So we're a little bit different situation. I mean, in the fact that you're hitting, Yadi was hitting 267 as a rookie. He hit 252 in his first full season. The third season, he hit 216. That's where it was really rough, but he had 2 years of hitting 250 plus. Back, even now, if Bailey was putting up those kinds of OPSs with 684 or 654, if he was hitting 250, none of us would be complaining. Like, literally, none of the three of us here would be complaining about Patrick Bailey if he was hitting 250, 260. Like, I don't care what his OPS is. If you're don't strike out a ton and just get on base and, hit for some average, like, none of us will care. We'd take that every day of the week. So it's, yeah. And like we said, Yadi was doing that as a 4 years younger player. So,
I mean, and here's year by year. Patrick Bailey's rookie season, he had a 644 OPS with a 359 slugging. Following year, last season, 637 OPS, 339 slugging. This year, 559 OPS, 293 slugging. He's on a downward trend as he's getting more experienced and supposedly better shape and supposedly in his prime. He's getting worse. And it's not even like being overly critical. It's just what he's producing with. So
it just is what it is.
It other than the one outlier year that Cody just mentioned, it took Yachty into his last year at age 39 to hit at the level Patrick Bailey is currently hitting at. 39 years old, 2 World Series later, and double-digit All-Star appearances and 9 Gold Gloves later.
Yeah.
Patrick Bailey is not that dude. And Yachty was a 277 career hitter. So while he wasn't some big-time power guy, even in his prime, Yachty was still a pretty consistent hitter. Like, you weren't, yeah, he's going to hit into some double plays because he's slower. But, like, he's a pretty steady hitter. He's not some, like, gaping hole in your lineup that you're just like, oh, shit, here we go again.
Yeah. If Bailey puts up a Yachty type career, I will eat my shirt. Like I will wear that one, but I don't see it, unfortunately.
You guys want to know a fun stat?
What's that?
Benji Molina. The 2009 season he was with us, mind you, this is the tail end of his career. He had 20 home runs, 80 RBIs, a 727 OPS. His last year with the Rangers, he hit
2010,
240.
right?
Yeah, he hit 240.
Yeah, that was the year Buster took over. Yeah, Benji was solid, man. He was awesome. The Giants were really lucky to get him at the tail end of his career.
He was solid for us.
Here, I'll go one before Benji. Ready for this? Actually, it was a couple catchers, technically, I think.
Benito?
Mike Matheny. His last full season with the Giants, because he got, he had the concussion in 2006. In 2005, his last full season, Mike Matheny, who was a man known to have no bat. Like, he was known as a Patrick Bailey type player. In 2005 for the Giants, when he won a Gold Glove, he had a 242 average with a 701 OPS.
Yeah.
Like, we have got to raise the bar in the standards that we hold these players to. I don't understand the endless defense for this guy. I will never say a guy that's putting up a sub 600 OPS is an everyday player. That I will die before I ever admit that. So I can't. Like, we've got the bigger standards.
The defense is always, well, if he can just get up to like a 640 or 650 OPS, and it's like, oh, so you mean just get his OPS up 100 points, no big deal, And then, I mean, you can feel free to say you're saying when we hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
Luis Matos did it in 5 days.
You're not right.
Yeah, a little bit different situation.
Yeah.
Even when he went on his little quote-unquote hot streak, and it was like, he's a 102 WRC plus hitter as of late. It's like, so he's league average? We're hyped about that.
His hot streak is literally league average.
Yeah, so.
And then when you go and look at it, it's literally like 3 bloop singles with like, no launch angle, hits it about 40 miles an hour. Just barely gets over the first baseman's head. Ends up being a double.
Wait, it has me curious now. Let me look up Hector Sanchez.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. His first 3 years in the league, because he did go downhill pretty quick. But his first 3 years in the league, he was, let's see, 267 hitter with a 670 OPS.
His last season with San Diego, he had 8 home runs and a 668 OPS.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and hey, you know what? To San Fran fans' point here, Matheny's career OPS plus is basically the same as Bailey's. And what happened to Matheny? He bounced around. That's what Ricky and I and Dan have been saying since day one. These are not guys that you give big long-term contracts to. These are not guys that you pay. These are guys that you sign when you have no other catcher anywhere close to you and you can't upgrade from them, and you need a catcher in free agency when January rolls around and you're just like, oh crap, we need a body, and you go sign that guy to get you through the year. That's it.
There is tons and tons and tons of evidence of this, guys. I mean, I've done it in the past. We can jot down a whole list of names and just recent names in the last 5 years. And winning a Gold Glove does not save your job as a starting catcher.
Yep.
Go and look at the last 5 to 7 years of Gold Glove winners, and you will find multiple guys that have switched teams. And not for good reasons, because they got traded to a better team.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Jacob Stallings, Jose Trevino, right off the top of the head, Martin Maldonado, all names that are right in that same territory, and they just
Tucker
bounce
Barnhart.
around. Tucker Barnhart's another one.
Roberto Perez.
I was just gonna say name.
Him. San Fran just dropped Austin Hedges. He's another one.
Yeah.
He's the one that I say is like Bailey to a T. That is Patrick Bailey Sr.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably move off the
Yes.
for this reason right here. I think we're like 7-8 away from 2K, and we're gonna piss a bunch of people off with this topic. So
Yeah,
We were 6 away. We might be more now. Before we started that.
all right, you guys better start creating some fake emails, and if you do, we promise to move off the Bailey talk.
I do not know it, unfortunately. And hey, you know what? And here's the reality. I'm going to say something positive about Patrick Bailey here. If you go trade for Adley Rutschman right now, Patrick Bailey still has some positive trade value if you want to move him.
Yeah, he does.
Sure.
So there will be a team that will trade a decent prospect for him, a decent to good prospect for him somewhere. So, yeah, he definitely has some value.
I mean,
Any other topics you guys want to? Oh, go ahead, Ricky. Sorry.
Just one last thing on that topic, not even on a negative note, but I do think it wouldn't be absurd if he were to go in an Adley trade to help offset some of what you need to trade back over there because of what you mentioned earlier with Basayo. We've already seen some interesting videos where Basayo's got chewed out by Orioles pitchers over some miscommunications. I saw a video with one of their starting pitchers, I believe. Basayo looked crossed up over some miscommunication. I mean, maybe it was, pitch comm type stuff, but I do think there's a scenario where Bailey could absolutely go back and it could offset some of that package you need to send back. It's kind of like, when like in the NFL, when you see these draft day trades where maybe a player and a pick goes, and a back end first round team is trading up and they're giving up their first rounder along with a player or something to move up or whatever. It's kind of a situation like that. It would make sense for a team like the Orioles. But on a more positive note, I was going to say maybe we should touch on Rafael Devers as of late, both offensively and defensively.
Dude, that pick that he had on the Adames jump throw today, that was clean.
Yeah.
He seems to be getting a lot more comfortable. And even that one where it went through the webbing on his glove, and he still had the instincts to, keep his foot on the bag and grab it with his bare hand to still get the out. That was impressive. The 2 home runs yesterday, that was super impressive. But, yeah, it's been fun watching Rafi as of late for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. He's playing like the guy everybody thought we were getting when we traded for him. So it's been really nice to see. He is a lineup changing presence especially when he's hot. You got to feel pretty good with those, with him and with Willy and some of these guys in the lineup where you feel like when the day comes that Eldridge is up for good, he'll have some protection, and he won't need to feel like he's going to have to carry the load. So what Rafi's doing is super impressive. I will say, even if Adames doesn't get to 30 this season, I feel pretty confident that Rafi will do it next season. So I do think that streak ends by 2026 at the latest. It's cool that they were able to get him. And I mean, you look at what the Giants gave up to get him now, and it's like Hicks is just imploding, and in Boston. Everybody there hates having him on the team. I don't even know what Harrison's doing. Last I saw, he was getting lit up in AAA.
Injured.
Shock. Yeah. So there you go.
Struggling and injured.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he could turn it around. I like Kyle. I hope he does turn it around ultimately. And then Tibbs is on his like third team. So, or fourth team of the season. I don't know.
Yeah, the way I basically chalk it up, and I still stand by that was an absolutely stupid trade by the Red Sox, getting Dustin May for half of a season while he already wasn't good this year. Like, what are you going to figure out in the last 2 months while you're trying to push for the playoffs? So I look at it, like you just mentioned, you got Kyle Harrison, who, I've always stood by him as a prospect because his fastball is elite. But I mean, I see some of the stuff that Red Sox fans are saying, and it's the same stuff. It's like, if only he can command another pitch. Well, hopefully this pitching coach can get him to figure out a third pitch. It's the same cycle over and over and over. And he's a young pitcher. I just don't know if the Red Sox are going to have the patience to really see it through to the end and like actually see him develop into a frontline starting pitcher, which was ultimately the plan with him all along. Giants did a good job selling him when they did, because he did look good out of the pen this year when they did use him in that role.
Yeah. The one thing that I'll give Kyle, where I think he's going to have a chance next season, is I think him getting to go into the offseason, and then when he gets to spring training and everything, he'll be working with Andrew Bailey. Whereas I'm not sure how much work he's doing with Andrew Bailey when he's in AAA. I'm sure there's some direction going down from him, but I think getting to work with him in spring training will help him next season.
But yeah, I mean, overall, you look back at it, who cares about Jordan Hicks? He's the same guy we've been complaining about. He sucks, plain and simple. You've got Kyle Harrison, who's doing absolutely nothing, and Tibbs, who got traded for a bag of chips, basically. And then, Jose Bayo might be your number one guy in that return. And, hey, maybe Bayo turns into some legit star pitcher, but he also looks like he might be more of a relief pitcher. And at the end of the day, he was pitching in the complex league. Like, that is, for a guy of Devers' caliber, that is an absolute no-brainer. It is a steal no matter what Red Sox fans say. Who cares about the damn contract? You guys are going to be spending years trying to find the same caliber hitter. Let's see if Roman Anthony gets to the Devers standard first before we crown him.
And the Tibbs thing, really quick, I'll leave it to Dan. The Tibbs one, I think, is funny because I feel like the Red Sox compounded this trade and made it worse by moving Tibbs for Dustin freaking May. It's like, I actually think Tibbs could be a decent player, and I'm actually pissed that the Red Sox sent him to the Dodgers, because I'm like, all right, he's gonna get to go to LA, and in like a couple of years he'll be hitting, eighth in that lineup with zero pressure on himself, and he'll be like New York Mets Conforto. That's actually good and useful to that team. So, like, I think he actually had upside to be a decent, solid player. And the fact that they then turned around and traded him for freaking Dustin May of all people, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, that was such an L on their side.
No, I agree. But no, all I was going to say is about Rafi. The biggest gripe that Boston fans like to say is his contract is contract. If Rafael Devers hit the market this offseason, he's getting $350 plus.
Yeah.
So you Giants are paying him what, 200 and some change? So I mean, you're still making out like a bandit as far as the contract is concerned compared to market value if he was available this offseason and you wanted to pursue him. So I've got zero complaints, man. And we kind of talked about it was it today or yesterday? How his approach at Oracle is, center, left center. Just imagine when he starts pulling them. Like, obviously center is good for his game, but dude, you know how fun the Bay's going to be if he just starts pulling them just to do it? I mean, they're going to go a long way, man. But,
dude, him and Bryce hitting balls out into the Cove.
I'm telling you, dude, next season, you're going to see the Cove packed again. you're gonna have boats out there, kayakers on a nightly and daily basis because those two, they're gonna bring some oomph to that lineup.
Yeah. You need each of them to hit like 2 balls out there, and the
Yeah.
Cove is gonna just go nuts. It's
Oh,
just gonna
for
be
sure.
crazy. I love to see because Oracle. I mean, listen, the championship years are obviously great. Like they were the best from a team as a Giants fan. The championship years to me were the best because it was just like that. You know, obviously you're winning it all. Like that's what you're playing for.
Yeah.
But the vibe around the park when
Dude.
Barry was there and the Cove had 100 kayakers out there, that was the best. Like just the vibe of going to a game and you're like walking down the arcade and you look out and you're like, holy crap, there's a ton of people out there. Like that was like it was like a full party out there every day. Like that was cool. So I mean, I would love to see the park just the Cove just hopping again. That'd be sweet.
For sure.
And then maybe somebody other than Dave gets the damn historic balls.
Dude, what was it, last night or the night before? There wasn't a single kayak out there. They were showing it on the broadcast, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. You never see that out there. But yeah, going back to just Devers in general, I will say one positive, even when they've been struggling. One thing I really like is how they've handled the Devers situation at first. Really, alternating between mostly him and Dom Smith now, like every other day, not getting him overly exposed at first and letting him work through the kinks. Obviously, it hasn't been pretty over there, but you see signs of progress over there and him getting a lot more comfortable. And you can really see it on Devers' face. Like he does take a ton of pride in his defense. He gets almost excited like a little kid when he makes a nice pick and you see him, hyped up when he comes back to the dugout. And I think that was like one of the big criticisms we saw out of Boston fans was them saying, oh, his attitude this, his attitude that. Like you can tell the guy legitimately wants to win and like enjoys playing the game. So
Yeah,
it's been nice to see. And the other thing, going back to his power, he's only got like 2 or 3 less home runs this year with the Giants than he did with Boston in 12 less games. So he's been doing, from a power standpoint, pretty much the same thing in SF that he was doing in Boston.
Yeah.
it's just the average. Like that's the only thing. The average and the strikeouts are up a bit.
Yes.
We're gonna kind of wrap this thing up here in a few minutes, but a couple of comments in here. I know Ed, I answered. I don't know what the injury is, but Keelan is currently hurt. I don't know if either of you have heard anything on that, but I hadn't heard what it was. But yeah, he's currently on the IL, unfortunately, because their season is about to wrap up. Any other injury news down on the farm? Any guys? I haven't seen anything with Dakota Jordan, unfortunately. I'm hoping he returns at least for their playoffs. I would love to see San Jose take home a title. They're getting a little dinged up right now, though, so they're not playing the greatest baseball the last week or so.
JC came back between our last live show now. He had a bomb in his
JC's
first game back.
Yeah, he's been playing all right since he came back, which has been a good sign. He's not playing today. He did play. They're kind of limiting him. I know yesterday they pulled him towards the end. Oh God, San Jose got spanked by Visalia today.
Yeah, they've been mixing a lot of guys in and out with all the complex leagues guys coming up, the draftees coming up. They've been a little bit more inconsistent as of late, but Eugene's playing pretty good ball, and then Sacramento's had some big nights recently.
Yeah. Hey, Bo Davidson went 3 for 4 today. Yeah, our boy Sabine Ceballos went 3 for 4 with a homer. He's quietly recovering his numbers, which has been good for him.
Everybody for Sacramento hit a home run tonight.
Yeah. Except Wade Meckler. He did not.
Shocker. Rob, yes, Level still is. He was out for a couple days. He took a grounder off the face and it cut his nose, but he's good. But yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he's hitting. He's struggling a little bit, but he's 18. He's one of the younger players there. It's like this was a theme on my minor league update that I put out on Tuesday. There's a lot of these guys that it's just about exposure. I'm not gonna sit here and nitpick Johnny Level's play. Obviously, if he was hitting 320, we'd all be like, oh my god. But he had a great complex league season. It's about rewarding a great season with some exposure at the next level. They can take this experience, learn from it, come in next season ready to go and make that adjustment. That's what it's about for Johnny Level and some of these young pitchers down in San Jose. It's what it's about for Jacob Christian, Xander Darby, and those guys in Eugene. It's what it's about for Bo Davidson and Scott Bandura up in AA. Like, these guys earn their promotions. We'd love to see them play, dominating right out the get-go, but right now it's just about get that exposure, learn from it, know what you need to improve on, attack the offseason.
Amen to that.
So, exactly. Level will be just fine.
And lastly, going off of your joke from earlier tonight, Cody, the River Cats beat Reno by a football score of 21-7. 3 touchdowns to 1.
Yes, sir. And with that, here, you know what? We'll make one little comment. We're gonna wrap it up here in a second, but
Walker's been great.
Credit to Ryan Walker. He has been very good. He's been their most consistent pitcher out of the pen over the last 2 months, month and a half.
In a time when it was badly needed, especially with the recent injuries.
Yeah. So credit where it's due. Ryan Walker has been good. That was a guy that looked like he was about to fall out of the bullpen entirely and go back down to AAA for a stretch, and he righted the ship. So good for him.
Amen.
And on that note, I know we showed it earlier. For those of you that came in late, enjoy this Bryce Eldridge home run. And while you're doing that, please do hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are almost to 2,000. We are 6 away. Probably not going to hit it tonight, but hopefully we'll hit it in the next. Oh, no, sorry. We are 5 away. Oh, it just froze.
5 away.
So.
Oh, and going back to Johnny Level real quick for anybody that didn't see it, he was named the top MLB prospects for the Complex League.
Yeah. Which that stacks up with what Scouts said. So definitely. Yeah, it's good to see. But other than that, we have not talked with Ryan Walker's dad, unfortunately. Who do we think September call-ups are going to be? I could see Jesus Rodriguez, although he hasn't been catching. He finally caught his first game a couple days ago. But I could see it. They might want to just give him a little bit of a look.
Anybody but Wade Meckler. That's who I want.
They'll probably abide by that. They'll give you Tyler Fitzgerald.
Maybe we can get Tang back and Meckler at the same time.
Oh, man. It'd be a dance celebration.
They're gonna extend this win streak up to 10 games, and then Logan Webb's gonna go on the IL, and Tang's gonna come up in his spot.
I will officially be drinking scotch while on stream. So
yeah. Take it away, Monty. Oh, man. All right. Well, I think that's it. For those of you that didn't see, one last thing. Last Sunday, we did have a collab with Glenn Kuiper. If you want to check it out, there's a live stream. Go into our lives. It'll be the last one there. Super fun. We'll try and do more of that in the future. But yeah, he was great. He was a fun guy. And other than that, we'll just have our normal minor league update Tuesday, live show next Thursday. And yeah, anything you guys want to add before we go?
Make sure you subscribe if you want a chance at winning the super duper special prize next week. That's all I'm going to say.
Super duper special prize, and we don't even know what it's going to be.
we have an idea.
I know. Yeah, no, it is pretty cool. It's legit. So, all right. That is all. Go Giants. We'll catch you guys next week.